Hey guys, in this video we're going to be doing like the speed clear overpowered way to clear the Malefic Red Eyes Dark Dragon and the higher 3 realms boss rush on the first turn. We're just going to OTK it overpowered. Now if you need a budget run, which I assume most people probably prefer, I'll probably be doing that either later tonight or tomorrow. So don't worry about that. We're just going for the speed clear for the moment. So let's do that, and then in the next video I'm going to use some tickets for Dark Fina. But we're going to go for Malefic Dark Dragons, 5 turns or less, no KOs. You can bring a friend, we're not going to. You can bring 5 units or 6 units, we're not going to. We're going to just turn 1 at OTK with the Earth team, which is Tulian and Diverti. Alright, so to start off, we're going to use Roberta to do her base form LB. That's a Spear in Peril, as well as an LB damage buff. Sylvie is going to triple. We're going to fill LB on Diverti. We're going to fill, we're going to amplify Earth. And then we're going to Demon Killer on Tulian, and that's going to basically buff the party. Tulian will do his LB, and he's going to go first, which is going to break the boss as well as Earth in Peril. And Diverti is going to shift the LB afterwards to Chain. Now the boss does have preemptive physical and magic mitigation, but Evokers bypass that. So basically Diverti carries this. Tulian is pretty much here just to support Chain as well as do that big Earth in Peril and our break. Now if you can't do this on turn 1, I plan to have like a turn, slower clear guide pretty soon, but, we do the speed clear first, we do the slower clears later, and as you can see, Tulian is support, basically Diverti. The same thing would probably work totally fine with like Ferris or something, because she is also evocation, and she's wind element, which is, a proper element. I'll show you the gear in 1 second. We're going to go to the other fight real quick, but I'm going to show you the gear before we go into that fight. Loading a little bit slow, but we'll get there. Alright, let's go ahead and do a quick OTK on this, and then we'll jump into the next area. So this one is, again, 5 turns in total, party of 4 or less, no items. These are like spirit humans, and they're weak to dark, but before we jump in there, I'll show you this team. So Roberta and Sylvie, totally naked. You saw what they did. Tulian is geared well, but his gear is mostly irrelevant. Diverti totally carries that first fight. So this is like, the all-in on Tulian. So here we go. Maxed LB, 250 Dragon, and 150 Demon. And then Diverti in the shift form is a double-hand spear build because we're using Roberta. You could also go double-hand any build and break and all with someone else. You could have gone like double-hand Rod and brought like Realm or Aerith to Rod in Peril. You could have gone double-hand Sword and done Frievia, whatever you want. But here's the build. He is an evocation unit, so make sure you do that. Here's the setup, and of course, the double-hand card is where it's at. And then Diverti has 300 LB damage, 310 Evo, 285 Esper, so his stats are decently good. He just has garbage magic stat, only 585. Anyway, let's jump into the next one, where we're going to OTK on turn 1 with this party. Let's give it a go. We're going to bring Esther, we're going to bring Kaito, and all that. So Kaito is going to be our breaker. He's going to go first on each turn with his shifted LB. We're going to use Adele to imbue the party with dark. We're going to Madam's Encouragement on Esther, and then the last cast doesn't really matter. Sylvie is going to, let's see, quite honestly, Sylvie is not really important. You know what we're going to do? We're going to do the LB of Sylvie, because we don't really need anything from her on these first 2 turns. And we're going to go ahead and chain these guys up. So the first 2 are super easy. Whatever, Kaito's doing the break, Esther's doing the damage, etc. And we'll go to the next one and do pretty much the same thing. And do some damage here. A little bit more damage now that the Esther field is up, so it gives both the units more LB. But now at this point, as you probably realize, Madame Adele's Magnus is gone, so we're not going to be able to refill Esther. That's where Sylvie comes in for the last fight. All right. So this time, Adele is just going to Dark Imbue. Sylvie is going to triple. Wait for all this to finish, because sometimes the game crashes if you use Sylvie's Magnus during autocasting. I've got your back on Esther. That's going to fill her up. We're going to Paladin's offense, and we're going to nothing else really matters. I guess we'll just Paladin's defense just in case, but it's not going to matter. Anyway, there it is. That should be the end of this. So the mission was in 4 turns or less. We did it in 5 turns or less. We did it in 3. This one might be a little bit trickier to budget run, but I'm still gonna work on it. You know, I'll try it out tonight. But there we go. So there was the all missions on that one. And I'll show you the breakdown and I'll show you the gear. But again, this clear was the nothing held back clear. So we've got Esther carried, but Kaito is important for breaking as well as support chaining. You know, there it is. All missions. Nicely done. Alright. Let's go ahead and show the gear, and then I'm going to upload this video, and then I'm going to get into some ticket pulls for Dark Fina and maybe get myself a whip. Alright. So the gear. So, I mean, Sylvie's gear, I mean, she was geared. She was geared for my usual, like, you know, support Sylvie, passive provoke, immune to everything, etc. Also, we had the Leave It To Me card on her. That is kind of important, though, for the auto imperil to great swords. That way Esther does, you know, more damage. Might have been overkill. I don't know. And then shift form gear, the same thing. Adele is just mana regen, or mana reduction. All she does is fills Esther on turn 1 and 2, and then Dark Imbue on all 3 turns. Notice no one on the party was Dark Imperiling, so if your damage is a little bit low, you can add an extra unit and then use a Dark Imperil as well, but you know, whatever. Kaito in the shift form is just geared for LB damage versus humans and spirits, so there we go. He's got maxed LB, 250 human and 250 fairy. And then Esther is geared for human and fairy killer. So here's the build. There's the setup. You know, Esther is kind of strong. Maxed and almost maxed. And human is actually, killers were a little bit low, but whatever. It didn't matter. Anyway, there's that. Let me upload this and we're going to get into some polls. See you in a moment.